The Pali Tripitaka was not a single book, but a massive oral database. It consisted of tens of thousands of individual discourses, cross-referenced and memorized by generations of practitioners across a vast geographical network. But transmitting that much information over centuries introduces structural vulnerabilities. Oral traditions are susceptible to cultural shifts, linguistic drift, and the natural erosion of context that happens when ideas travel between different regions. To maintain the integrity of the original system, the tradition required more than just memory. It needed a standardized set of rules, a way to ensure that any interpretation of a text remained consistent with the whole. With so many thousands of independent files circulating, the sheer volume of data created a risk. Without a central methodology to analyze these texts, isolated passages could be cited to support conflicting views, potentially turning a unified philosophy into a collection of contradictory local sects. This historical challenge was addressed by the Nettipakarana, an ancient manual traditionally attributed to Mahakachayana, one of the Buddha's direct disciples. It is important to define what this text is not. It contains no new philosophical doctrines and claims to reveal no secret discourses. Instead, it functions as an analytical grammar. It is a procedural manual designed to provide the specific rules needed to interpret the existing scriptures. The title itself reflects this function. Derived from the Pali root ni, meaning to lead or guide, the netti translates as the guide. It operates as a system of quality control. By testing any interpretation against its internal rules, the netti ensures that the resulting understanding leads toward the path of enlightenment rather than reinforcing habits of greed or hatred. The netti analyzes a text by separating bayanyana, literal phrasing, from atta, the underlying meaning. This meaning is filtered through 16 analytical tools called haras for logical consistency. Finally, 5 nayas, or guidelines, structure the results to perfectly align with core principles. By processing scripture through this multi-layered system, the netti strips away cultural or linguistic artifacts. This isolates the structural logic of the Dhamma, making it visible across different contexts. Historically, the netti existed alongside a very similar text known as the Pitakaopadesa. Scholars like Professor Hardy noted significant overlap between the two works, leading to a long-standing debate over which text served as the original prototype. This comparative table from the Bengali translation highlights their structural differences. The right column shows the Pitakaopadesa's 8 repeating chapters, suggesting a less refined stage. The left column demonstrates the netti's streamlined 4-part structure, consolidating these redundancies into a direct analytical path. This refined architecture is why later commentators like Buddhaghosa adopted the netti as their standard. It provided a more efficient system for processing the vast quantities of scripture found in the canon. By the mid-20th century, the Buddhist world faced a new period of transition, prompting a push to verify and protect the Theravada texts for a global era. In 1954, Burma hosted the 6th Buddhist Council. This massive gathering of scholars was dedicated to the meticulous recitation and verification of the entire Tripitaka. This council resolved a long-standing regional debate. While Sri Lanka had historically viewed the netti as being outside the primary canon, the Burmese council formally elevated it to full Pitaka status. This decision confirmed that the netti was not just a historical curiosity, but an essential framework for the modern Orthodox tradition. A central figure at this council was Bhadanta Shantarakshita Mahatero, a leading scholar representing Indian Bengali Buddhists. He recognized that without a translation in his own language, the analytical tools of the netti would remain inaccessible to the scholars and students of his home region. Shantarakshita Mahatero produced a comprehensive technical translation into Bengali, a project that required translating ancient Pali terminology into a modern academic vocabulary. His work successfully linked the ancient rules of Pali interpretation with the modern linguistic landscape of the subcontinent. By translating this text, Shantarakshita Mahatero provided the tools for a new generation to independently verify the core principles of the Buddhist tradition.